Greetings fellow modelers. Today I'm going to be doing something totally different. This is going to be the quick build series. Easy to build, quick to build, and it's a great way to get into paper modeling. The series I'm going to use exclusively is Fiddler's Green. And the first one I'm going to do is the L19 Bird Dog. Why choose Fiddler's Green? 20 years ago, this was what I knew. This was where I first started. I got a few models and I did them and they were excellent. It's a great way to learn. You can go to their website. I'll put the details in the description below. Check them out. It costs very little and literally they will send you a model every day. It's awesome. Go check them out. So let's begin. So here we have printed on regular paper, office copy paper, is the Bird Dog. Here we're looking at the rudder, the stabilizer, the main wing, the wheels, the fuselage, and generally it's laid out pretty much straightforward. Now to put it together, as you can see, it's a very simple kit. And here's what I use. Watercolor pencils, my knife set, office glue, crazy glue, and tacky glue. In general, this is just cutting the parts out. We take our time, use this. You can find also using a scissors is probably a lot better for some people, but for me, a blade with a straight edge does wonders and does the job pretty good. There is no hard and fast rule. So initially, I'm just cutting out all the parts I need right now, all the major parts, before I start assembling. Here we have the main fuselage, cut it from the main sheet, and then tackle all the intricate details. And as you can see, you follow the instruction carefully, they do leave tabs on it, and these are to glue together. One of the advantages printing on a bond sheet is that when it comes to joining those tabs, it makes the model look a little more real because it is so thin when you overlay that it looks like one single panel. That's one of the main advantages of printing on such a thin sheet. Yep, this is why models need patience. Now laminating the prop, we get our cardstock. Any cardstock you get, it's a thickness of greeting cards. You can get 160-gram sheet, 180-gram sheet. These are just the reinforced parts on the model that you may need. And now back to cutting out our stabilizer, our fin, our rudder. Just having all the parts cut out, that once we start to assemble, we are smooth sailing. Landing gear. So let's assemble our fuselage. Now, we pay attention carefully to what we're doing here. We simply use a brush handle and their parts we're going to score. And using the back of the blade, we're not cutting it, but we're just making enough of a crease so we can fold it properly. So we look carefully on the plan for the parts we fold, and it will be easier to form a straight line, a proper line. Then we use our brush handle, and this now we will roll to create a nice curve. You may not see it, but the model is coming together already. We're way ahead of the curve. Ha, no pun intended. And for the fin, we use again the back of the blade to score those. And now time to glue the fuselage together. I use tacky glue. Any liquid glue you use on this, it is going to warp and it will take time to dry. So go for the tacky glue, quick drying glue. Here we are gluing our fin together. And then those tabs that was deliberately left on the fuselage panel, that's how you see them join. And because they're so thin, you see how they fit perfectly to each other, giving the illusion that it is one straight fuselage. Really a nice fun kit. What I really love about these Fiddler Green kit is that you can take one afternoon and complete a model. No hassle. Look at this little gem coming together. Nice. I really like it. So let's deal with our fin and stabilizer. Now these parts, we're going to use a cardstock to strengthen and stiffen the stabilizer. Again, a simple sheet of 160 gram, and we use that glue stick to join the bond sheet to the cardstock. And now we put in, it's not mentioned in the kit, but sometimes you really have to strengthen all control surfaces. That includes the fin and rudder. So take this tip that you're seeing here when you're building your own model. And remember, I think it's something like for $7.50 for the month, you get every day a model. That's a bargain. So go to the website if you can and check them out. And here we're installing the cardstock onto the fin. And now we're going to put the rudder on. Nice. Don't worry right now about the edge. Once we're finished, we're going to paint it. Our main concern is to make sure it is properly aligned. So here's how we're going to do the cowling. We're going to take a different front to it. I take a cake decoration tool, at least that's what it's called, and I press it into the edges and using my hand as a base so that it can take the curve. And that's how I form compound curve using paper. This is another advantage to using the thin bond sheet, is that you can get a bit of compound curve when you use a cake decoration tool. And of course, my trusty tacky glue. And then I roll the inside to join the parts, but also to make sure emphasize a curve. Now that looks like a decent cowling. And now we're going to join the cowling to the main fuselage, so we add tacky glue and we take our time to align, and there you have it. For the landing gear, we're going to treat it the same way we did with our prop. We use a 160 gram cardstock to which we will glue the landing gear to and then cut it out. Now, we use the back of the blade again to make a crease so that we can fold it on the edge of our ruler, straight edge, and then we curve. This now you can strengthen by using your crazy glue, your quick drying cryolite glue. Just like the prop, the landing gear, and the tail surfaces, we're going to glue our main wing panels to cardstock. This is to give it added strength and rigidity so it won't warp on us. And then we cut. And then we score using the back of the blade. We fold over, and now the panel for the top, we again put on cardstock. Now this time when we cut it out, we're going to add curve to it. Using our brush handle. Here we go. Not only does it add rigidity, but it gives a more realistic curve and the shape of the wing. Not because the model is a very simple one to build means that it doesn't have any form of realism. It does look pretty good when it's completed. We press and join everything on a flat surface so that it will eliminate most of the warp. And then when we're finished, we trim any excess edges that we see to keep a uniform shape. We paint these later. And now we join the major elements. The wing to the fuselage. Using my trusted tweezer, we make sure the edges align, and then we use our fast glue, quick drying super glue, and then we make sure our tweezer to press down the center, and we make sure that the fuselage top, the cabin, is aligned with the markings on the wing. Now we install our canopy. Using our trusty brush handle, we form the curve. Now here's the thing, you are going to need to slightly trim and modify whatever you're doing to make sure that the panel fit properly. It may not be 100% accurate, but a little trimming will get it there. And then we use our tweezer to hold things in place until the glue set. Nice. And now there's a minor modification made to this canopy. When I initially put it on, it was too far front. So I made a slight marking to cut a curve in so I can push the screen back a little more onto it. It's not fully there, but it's getting there. And then we add the wing strut, which we use again 160 gram cardstock to stiffen it. And then we cut using a straight edge. There you go. Coming together. So we just tack it in position and use super glue to hold it. So let's do this tail wheel. Pretty straightforward. Again, we put the tail wheel sheet onto a cardstock and we're going to cut it in half, fold along the center line and just cut it out. Then we apply glue and install into the tail area. We then make our main wheels. And how I do this is using cardstock layered. I went about probably 6 or 8 layers to make the wheel thick enough. and then we paint the edges when the time comes. So let's finish up our model. It's just a matter of painting the edges of everything, from the wheel, and how we put the wheel onto our model is to quick dry glue, and then we use our super glue to fasten and hold into place. Now for the prop, we cut tiny strips of paper, a matter of fact just small blocks, and that's what we use to separate it from the fuselage. It's just these little things that will add realism to your model. And then of course, we now find the closest color possible, watercolor, and we paint the edges. This now will bring your model a little more to life. So I hope you like what you have seen today. Thank you so much for this, and I hope you will join me for more in the future. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing, and see you in the next round. Until then, my friends, take care, one love.